the presentation, so we'll just give everybody a couple more minutes. Nice to see some familiar faces. I see Tara up there. How you doing, Tara? April, I know Johnny Terry's in the house. Who else have we got here today? Wow, lots of people. So nice to see everybody. I see Gary James here with us as well. Dwayne Bullock, some of the AEP Evaluation Committee representatives. Kimberly Murphy, who's up in Nova Scotia. Looks like she's joining us today.
Hi there.
Hey, Kim. Ken Duke up in Dallas is with us today as well. Lots of familiar names. Good to see everybody. Again, we'll wait just a couple more minutes. We will get started at 12:05 Central Time, which is just in about a minute. Thank you. All right, it is 12:05 Central Standard Time. We're going to go ahead and get started. Again, I want to thank everybody for attending our educational session today. Just a couple of quick housekeeping items. We do have quite a few participants. We wanted this to be interactive, so we did not make it a webinar. What that means, though, is that anybody can talk at any time. So I would appreciate if everybody puts themselves on mute unless you were talking. I'd also appreciate it if you have a question, go ahead and throw that in the chat. If the question is too long, just type "I have a question," and I'll pause periodically and call on you, and you can unmute yourself and we can discuss. Again, we hope this is an interactive and educational for everybody. So feel free to ask questions as we go through. For those that have attended our webinars in the past, you know that it's pretty much an hour of us talking. So what we've done is we are chunking these into 5 different educational sessions so we can answer some specific questions for you and go over smaller topics at a time. The first thing that I want to do is thank our partners. Our presenting partner is NPP Gov, and our other partner today is Megometrics. If you'd like any more information on either of those companies, you can visit our website at npiconnection.org. And we have links to them there. So you can visit their websites and get some more information on them. Again, thank you to them for helping us put on these fantastic educational sessions. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen now. We're going to walk through some of the changes to this year's application, as well as the website for those of you who are unfamiliar with it. I'll show you how to log in and how to start that application. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to type those in the chat or type question. And like I said, I'll stop periodically so myself or one of the other AEP team members can answer those for you. So let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to go ahead and start by sharing my screen. And I'm going to take you through the website and how we enter the AEP application and where you can find the information. So anybody that's not familiar with our website, it's npiconnection.org. I will say that the upper right corner of our website, this is not the AEP login. This is for NPI members. we actually have two different databases. We have NPI member and we have AEP portal. The reason for that is you do not have to be an NPI member to submit an AEP application. So sometimes people get confused on the two different logins, but again, you do not use this top right login unless you want to log into the NPI membership website. So what you do is you go here to the AEP award, applications and instructions, and this will take you to our main entry page to the AEP application. Now from here you can do a few things. You can go right in to start the application. You can download a PDF version of the application, and sometimes that's beneficial because what you have there is you've got the entire application and then an AEP scorecard that you can do a little bit of a self-evaluation on. You also have the 2021 summary of changes. And I'm going to highlight those real quick, let you know what's different between 2020 and 2021. So let's jump right into that. First off, just reminding everybody, the application due date is May 15th of this year, 2021. Just real quick, a note, it is on a Saturday. So if you are submitting from your office, which I think a lot of us are probably not in our offices full time, but if you are, make sure that you get that done on Friday because May 15th is a Saturday this year. Just like every year, we do have multiple criteria that have date requirements. Those dates change every year. So please verify those in the criteria before you submit. We also have some minor clarifications and edits that we put in each year based on questions that we get throughout the year that serve to clarify and further define the submittal requirements. So make sure that you read. Don't assume that the criterion is the same as or the exact same as last year. Make sure that you read all of those. Now, for some of the substantial changes, criterion number 3, which is our professional development program criterion, we have increased the points from 5 to 10 to highlight what we feel is a trend in our profession that is leading more towards education and professional development. So we've increased those points this year from 5 to 10. Take a look at that. It is a hard criterion to put together, but make sure you know that this year that's 10 points. Criterion number 7C, which falls under our e-procurement criteria, which is 7C, we've added a requirement that the samples submitted must be from the same solicitation. So that's relating to posting and downloading of solicitations. In the past, we have had some people that have submitted from different solicitations, and it's really harder for or more difficult for the committee to follow those through. So make sure that when you're looking at 7C, you make sure that those samples are from the same solicitation. 7D, we've modified the points, the value in that criterion down to 5. It was 10. 7D is use of an electronic interactive solicitation system. There is a lot of documentation to that, but you know, criterion 7 itself carries a lot of weight. So we've modified that down to 5. In overall total 7 is still a large component of the submission. 7E, just like C, we've added the requirement samples submitted must be for the same solicitation, same reasoning as in 7C, same as in 7F. It's following a requisition to a PO for internal procurement automation. Make sure that those screenshots that you submit for that are from the same purchase order. Criterion 9, or excuse me, number 9, criterion 10A and 10B, which is certification of the chief procurement official and professional staff. New to the profession is the NIGP certified procurement professional certification. So we've added that as a qualifying certification of both those criteria. So anybody that has those, you are now eligible for points under that those two criteria. Criterion 12, we've clarified that the staff member that you submit for points must be acting in the leadership position as a representative of the agency submitting the application. Now, to clarify that a little, sometimes, occasionally, we will see For example, organization B submits a name. Let's say John Smith has been a leader in NPI over the past prior year, but he served in that position with a different association with agency A. So he's now moved to agency B, but when he served in that position, he was with agency A. Okay, so make sure that when you submit, the staff member that you're submitting for is actually representing your agency, if that makes sense. Same thing with Criterion 13. The presenter or whoever has drafted the article that you're submitting for points, again, they must be acting or have acted in that capacity as a representative of your agency. Okay. If you have any more questions regarding changes to the application, you can always contact me at aep@npiconnection.org. All right. With that, I'm going to take a quick pause there and see if anybody has a question. I do see Tara Acton. Go ahead, unmute yourself, and hopefully I can answer your question.
So criteria 12 and whatever the other one are, those are about being involved at a national organization, correct?
That's
or
correct.
Presenting. And when you're saying as a representative of your agency, is it saying that you need to be working for your agency? I guess, like, I'll just be specific. I was planning to submit based on my involvement with NIGP. The agency supports me being in that, but I'm not representing Mojave County for NIGP.
You are serving in a capacity, but you are working for Mojave County right now as you're serving NIGP.
Yes.
Yes, that counts. Now, what we're trying to guard against is, let's say that you no longer are involved.
I'm no longer working for the city of Tucson.
Exactly. If you no longer were involved with NIGP, now that you're at Mojave County, but you tried to submit for when you were at the city of Tucson, even though it falls in those date parameters, you could not gain those points for Mojave County.
Okay.
That make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. You're welcome. Next is Kirsten Hancock.
Hi.
Go ahead.
I have a similar question. So we have a staff member who still serves on NPI and used to work for us and served us under the county, but moved to a different agency. Can we, and it's after the, I mean, he moved in September, and can we still use that, or is that not qualifying?
As long as he was working for your agency in calendar year 2020, which
yes.
This application covers, then yes, you can submit.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, seeing no more questions, I am going to move on. I'm going to share my screen again real quick. And what we're going to do is we're going to go right into the application itself. All right, here we go. So again, when you're accessing the application, you always start here at Start the AEP application. And if you are continuing or you've used this portal in the past, you use the returning applicants box. If you're brand new and you need to register a new account, you do that here. But since I am returning, I'm going to enter as a returning applicant. Now my screen's going to look a little bit different than what you all see because I am an evaluator, which I have a tab for scoring. I am also an admin, so I'll have an admin area tab. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you based on what it would look like for you as an applicant. Okay. One other question that we often get is, hey, the prior person who submitted an application for us has moved on. We don't know their credentials. How can I change that login information so that I have access? What we've done is we've set up the system so that if you have the same URL in your email address, you can access submissions from your agency just based on that URL. So for example, the URL for me is @goldengate.org. So another person from my agency, let's say that Tara worked for the Golden Gate District, so she would be tacton@goldengate.org. once she logged in online, she would still be able to view the information for Golden Gate, as well as the prior scorecards from any time that Golden Gate has submitted an application. So you don't have to worry about changing the login information. You can just create a new account under your email, and the system will recognize that URL and link it to your prior year's scorecards. Okay, so again, I'm going to go through this as an applicant. The first thing that you need to do is there are some instructions here that, again, you can read through those. Those are contained in the PDF version as well, if you want to review that online. The application information needs to be filled out each year. We used to save that application information, but what we found is we had a lot of information that wasn't updated, and we were sending notices to the wrong person, mailing trophies to the wrong address. And so what we've done is we, each year, when you first get in, we've wiped out this application information. So make sure to go in and fill that out. You'll put your chief procurement official information in, and then also your organization official. So that's who you want to be notified that you were successful of receiving the award. Show off what you've done. Okay. Now, after that, you're going to go to the actual questions. So each criterion is represented by a number up here across the top of the website. You can skip around. You can go to different criterion. You don't have to start at one and move on. So for example, if you have the diplomas uploaded and you want to submit those for the educational requirement, you can go straight to 11A and 11B and submit those. What you'll notice also is that the requirements of each criterion are listed down below. So you don't have to have the application in front of you. All the information is contained here. Now, if I wanted to submit a response to criterion number 1, the first thing I would do is I would click on yes here, and then I would need to browse and find a file on my personal computer that I wanted to submit. So nice and easy. For this one, I would just collect, this is from my 2020 application, but I would select procurement ethics, click on open. It's going to attach that file to my application, click submit, and it's going to go right on to the next criterion. It's taken a while to submit. Let me see here.
Well, Terry, you're not frozen. I guess I'm not frozen too. Everybody's up there. I guess Brian. Oh, we lost Brian. That's what
I was gonna
happened.
say, I think we lost Brian. He probably has to come back in.
Yeah. He's working remote, so he's probably lost a connection there. I wish I had the presentation. I could just kind of, April and I could do a tag team here, but well, and I'm sure Brian will figure it out probably in the next 15, 20 minutes that he's talking and no one's listening.
Does anyone have any other questions? Maybe we can just work with you extemporaneously.
I have a question, April. This is Desiree from Nevada County. So I know that you and I have talked as my mentor. You teach me everything, but I think it may be for the greater good of the group too. I am new to submitting for AEP and often struggle with like certain pieces, like I don't have data and I haven't really started that type of information, but I have a plan. So when I'm looking at, for instance, like cost savings and how to articulate those types of efforts, can you give me like some reminders about that process?
I would encourage you to join NPI. And as an NPI member, you get access to model submittals. So that'll give you examples of how other agencies have successfully submitted those Criterion. And not only were they successful, but the evaluation committee considered them to be model or to be of superior quality, that this is what a really good submittal looks like. Membership is pretty cheap and you get a hefty discount on your application fee as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I'm back. Can everybody hear me again?
Yes.
Yes, welcome back.
Thanks. No idea what happened, and I have no idea how long I was talking to no one. So it looks like Philip and April jumped in to answer some questions. I appreciate that. If you could give me a little insight as to where I may have dropped off, I'll try and start there.
You were submitting the item number one. You had uploaded your file, and the last I saw on your screen, it still said submitting, and then you dropped.
Perfect. Well, I will start right back there again. Let's see here. Let me find. Okay, you see, am I back on Criterion 1? April, Philip, can you see Criterion 1 on my screen now? Anyone?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
Perfect. So what I was trying to do, and I'm not going to try and do it again, is submit an item. And I'll just say that once you do submit an item, so if example, if I had successfully submitted a document on Criterion 1, it would shade blue and turn complete. The green highlight is whatever criterion I'm working on, and those in gray are incomplete. Now, I will say that if you are not submitting a response to a particular criterion, so for example, if this year I was not going to submit a response to Criterion 5, what you need to do is just leave it on no, I'm not submitting a response, and then click submit. What that's going to do is it's going to turn it red, and it's going to show that you're not going to be submitting anything. What we ask you not to do is don't upload a file that says, I'm not submitting a response. We have seen that many times in the past because what that means is that we actually, our evaluators have to go into all of those that you're not submitting responses for, open up the file, and then it says, no, I'm not submitting a response. If you select no, then we can just bypass that because we know you're not submitting a response and save us a little bit of time.
In that, Brian, if I may, in that
Yes, sir.
same light, if you're working on a criteria, Desiree kind of mentioned this earlier, she's working on a criteria, but she doesn't necessarily have it completed or it's not ready to submit this year, then you don't want to go ahead and submit half of something and say, hey, we're working on this, or this is a criteria that we are working on, but we don't have yet. It's just really, there's no benefit to the evaluation process to that. So you would just mark it as not submitting that criteria, and then submit next year when you have it done. But no reason to put any in process or we don't do that or anything like that, because it's just kind of a time waster.
Yes, perfect. Thank you for that, Philip. Just a couple more tips on the actual submittal process. Some people will work on a criterion at a time. They will do number 1, submit it, then they'll go on to number 2, they'll submit that. Other people, what they'll do is they'll gather all the files together in like a shared drive or something so their entire team can review. and they'll just submit them all at once. So either way is fine. You can submit them as you're working through, or you can submit them all at once at the end. I will say, just make sure that if you do, don't wait too late, because as we all know, technology is a little unpredictable. So you'll make sure you don't want to miss that deadline. Okay. All right. So the next thing that we want to take a look at is, once we have done, you've done with all your responses, you're going to submit your application. And this is going to tell you everything that you did not submit for. So it's going to say, are you sure? And it's going to give you the total points that you've submitted for. Now, in this instance, I have not added anything. So it's going to say, I've submitted nothing, 0 out of 200 points, and I want to finalize my application. Again, you have to have at least 100 points, successful 100 points to achieve the award. We always recommend you don't apply for exactly 100. You try and go over and above that, just to make sure, because a lot of applications, in fact, a majority of the applications have points deducted somewhere along the line. So, submit as much as you possibly can to make sure that you're successful. Okay, with that, I'm going to pause. We've got just a few minutes left. I'm going to go back into the chat and see about answering some questions. All right. Can you edit or remove a document after you have submitted it? Yes, you can. This is a question by Tara. You can go back in, and there's a thing that says delete previous response. So if you submitted something that was incomplete, or you wanted to change it, you just delete it and add another one back in. Can you change your mind if you weren't planning to submit for Criterion, but then you think you can get points? Absolutely. Again, up until the submission, until you've submitted your document and paid, you can add, you can take out, you can delete, you can change, you can do all of that. Since I dropped off, I only have chat from where Barbara says Brian is back. So if there were questions prior to that, Philip, if you could read those off, that would be great.
I think we covered them all.
Okay, excellent. So I've got one other question here from Kathy Stewart. What is the timeline for disputing the results? Well, we don't have a specific timeline. What we do is we announce the results as soon as we possibly can. Generally, it is in mid to late July. We meet early July. The evaluation team starts really May 16 on reviewing your responses, but our main meeting is in early July, and we try and announce those mid to late July after that. We do produce and mail trophies starting in September into October. Obviously, this year was quite a bit different. We had extended our timeline. We had some problems with our distribution on the trophies, but if you would like to question or dispute the results, what you would do is, as soon afterwards as that you can on receiving the notification, please email me, again, aep@npiconnection.org. I will review, and then I will, if needed, I'll reach out to the committee members who evaluated those particular questions that are in dispute, and then we will follow up with you with an official determination. So again, no specific timeline, but as soon as you can, because we got to get those trophies in production. With that, our 30 minutes is up. Oh, sorry, one more question. How do you know the questions that you've missed so you can correct the following year? Real quickly, I'll go back in and share my screen again and show you how you look at prior year's scorecards. And prior year scorecards are available under the history link. Now, we used to mail out the scorecards, but we've found that that's not very reliable, because the people that are submitting the application a lot of times don't get them. So we've gone to strictly online, but under the history link, you will have access to all prior years that you've submitted. I take that back, not all prior years starting when we went digital, which was 2015, I believe. But you can take a look at the prior year scorecards, any comments. You can also download what you submitted from the prior year, so you can take a look at that. For example, if you're in charge of procurement ethics and you didn't submit that last year, someone else did, you can see what they responded with by downloading the document there. And again, comments, score are contained in each of the links for your prior year's scorecards.
And just as a side note, when we meet as an evaluation team and we get some applications that are, 90, 95 points, we go back and we really scrutinize those ones that were on the cusp and saying, okay, they didn't really have this element, but is it enough? We really try hard to make sure that if you submit an application, we're going to do everything we can to award that to you without breaking the rules, right? Without simply just giving you points, but we work hard. So you guys don't think that we arbitrarily go through and, we relish turning down any applications. We really work hard to try to give everybody the points they can.
Thanks, Phil. Good point. And just to add to that, every criterion is reviewed by 2 individual people, and those people have to agree on whether the points are given or not. So again, it's not arbitrary, it's a team approach. Sometimes there is a team discussion if things are close or not certain. We have a team of 20 people representing all of our sponsors. So we do our best to be fair and equitable, and we take this role very seriously. So with that, quick other question: our county email recently changed from .com to .gov. Will we still be able to access past scorecards? Not on that email. Now, if you send me, aep@npiconnection.org, an email explaining the change, I think we can go behind the scenes and tie those together. We'll have to take a look at that, but send that directly to me. If not, then I can download your prior scorecards and send those to you. All right, don't want to take up anybody more else's time. I do want to thank you again. Thank you to NPP Gov as our presenting partner and Naval Metrics as another supporting partner of this AEP webinar series. Don't forget, we've got 4 more of these where we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the actual criteria. So make sure you go to our website, npiconnection.org, sign up for those webinars. If you're not a member of NPI, I think April mentioned there's a significant discount on the AEP application that actually pays for your membership and more. And you get access to those model submittals. Again, thank you to our sponsors, thank you to our partners, and thank you all for attending. And we will see you at our educational session number 2, scheduled for later on this month. All right, thank you all. Cheers. If you have any questions, go ahead and email me.